Welcome to Vocalic ER. This presentation is going to focus on auditory discrimination, being able to hear the difference between good and bad productions of Just as a reminder, the lip placement for the sound is a smile, which is not quite as important as the tongue placement, but as a beginner, you need to make sure that your mouth is in a smile to make the sound correct. Now for the most important part, the tongue position. To make the sound with a bunched tongue, your tongue needs to be back towards the back of your mouth, high between your top back molars, and tight, pushing against the insides of those molars. If you take a look at this picture, the red line is showing the tongue placement, and the arrow is pointing to the part of the tongue that is high and back in your mouth. Now I'm going to show you two close-up videos of my own mouth. The first video is my attempt at a side view so that you can watch my tongue pulling to the back of my mouth. The second video is a front view so that you can see where my tongue is in relation to my top back molars. If after watching those videos, you're thinking, hey, wait a minute, she said our mouth needs to be in a smile for the sound. You're right. I only had to open my mouth wider for teaching purposes so that you can see my tongue. I may do that a few more times during this video because I want you to see my tongue placement, but you need to focus on keeping a smile. Here is a second, more uncommon way of saying the R sound. It's called the retroflex R. This is made by placing your tongue tip behind your teeth and running it along the roof of your mouth towards the back of your mouth. You can see from this picture that the blue line represents the tongue, and where the arrow is pointing is the tongue tip on the roof of the mouth. This is uncommon, like I said, but if it works for you, then please use it. Here are two more videos to show you the retroflex R. I want you to pay attention on how my tongue tip goes to the roof of my mouth and then slides to the back. You probably noticed that that was a little bit hard for me to do because that's not how I naturally produce the R sound. So I really had to think and try in order to show you that method. Here is a side-by-side view of the two R's. If you're not used to looking at a diagram like this, you might not be able to see it well, but the yellow arrows are pointing to the tongue. On the left, the arrow is pointing to the tongue tip up towards the roof of the mouth in a curved back position. And in the diagram on the right, the arrow is pointing to the majority of the tongue being up and back in the mouth. Can you see it? All right, it's time to start practicing the sound. We are going to try both tongue positions to practice the so you can decide which one is better for you. I'm going to start with the bunched tongue. Okay, we're going to get into our mouth position before we ever say anything. So we're going to smile, and we're going to take our tongue, and we're going to pull it back and up and spread it wide. Okay, ready? Smile. Let's do it again. Remember, I'm opening my mouth more so that you can see my tongue, but you should just be smiling and saying, er. Er. Okay, now I'll say it and you repeat it after me. See if you can make it sound the same. Er. Er. Does it sound like mine? All right, now let's try the retroflex R. So we're going to smile like we did before. We're going to take the tongue to the roof of our mouth and we're going to pull it back. Smile, tongue up. Let's do it again. Okay, now I'll say it and you repeat it after me to see if you can make it match. Which tongue position was better for you? The bunched or the retroflex? You decide and stick to that method. Once you pick one, you don't want to be switching back and forth. You are going to hear 2 audio clips of the sound. I want you to listen carefully and tell me if the 2 sounds sound the same. They are 2 different people, so they won't be identical, but I want to know if both people are making the sound correctly. There won't be any videos for this part because I don't want you to watch the mouths of the people to know if they're doing it correctly. I want you to be able to use your ears to hear the difference, because that's what you'll be doing with yourself. You won't always be looking in the mirror, but you will be able to hear yourself in order to monitor if you are saying the sound correctly. Listen carefully to these 2 different sounds. Option 1, Option 2, So what do you think? Did the sound the same? Or did they sound a little bit different? If you said they were the same, you are correct. Option 1, Option 2, What do you think about this one? Were the sounds the same or a little bit different? If you said different, you are correct. But which sound was the good one? If you said number 2, you are correct. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but with some words. So you'll hear 2 different productions of an initial word. Then you'll have a chance to practice the word yourself to see if you can match mine. Listen carefully to these 2 productions of the word early. Option 1, early. Option 2,
early.
So what do you think? Were these 2 productions the same, or did they sound a little bit different? If you said different, you are correct. But which one was the better production? If you said number 1, you are correct. Option 1.
Early.
Option 2. Early. So what do you think? Did the sound the same? Or did they sound a little bit different? If you said they were the same, you are correct. Now let's practice saying early. Let's start by doing it together. Smile, and we're going to start with our tongue in the back of our mouth before we say anything, since we're starting with at the beginning of words. Early. Early. Now, I'll say it, and you repeat after me. Try to make it match. Early. Early. Listen to these two different productions of the word irk. Option 1, irk. Option 2,
Irk.
So what do you think? Did the sound the same? Or did they sound a little bit different? If you said they were the same, you are correct. Option 1.
Ook.
Option 2. Irk. What do you think about this one? Were the sounds the same or a little bit different? If you said different, you are correct. But which sound was the good one? If you said number 2, you are correct. Now it's time for you to practice saying the word irk. Okay, let's get into position together. Smile and tongue back. Irk. Let's do it again. Irk. Now let's see if you can match mine. Irk. Irk.